Hello and welcome to Herman Hits the Road. I'm Ads, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about the toilet on a motorhome or caravan. So stick around and stay tuned. First of all, we'll take a look at the toilet itself. It has a lid, and it also has a seat. On some models you can actually swivel them round like ours here, and this is to either stow it away to give you more room in the bathroom or to give you a better sitting position. In many ways it's very similar to a domestic toilet. Not all toilets will swivel and some will look slightly different. They should all have a lever of some sort, such as this one. And what this does is actually open up the trap inside, and I'll show you that in a moment. Up here you'll find the flush, which you just press, and that flushes the toilet. So let's take a look at what this lever does. Just moves left and right, and it feels like it locks into place. In our toilet that is closed, and that is open, and what I'm referring to is the trap just there. Don't worry, there's no nastiness in our toilet, it's clean inside there. So when you go to the toilet, you should sit down. Men should as well, otherwise you get a bit of splashback if you're standing, and it goes everywhere. So you sit down, open the trap. Okay, so now it's open, and down there is actually the toilet cassette, which we'll cover in a moment. You do your ablutions, you flush. Obviously you wipe, of course, and do all your whatever. You flush until all the paper goes down. Now, if there are anything left, you know what I'm talking about, number twos, we have one of these. Inside here, we have a toilet brush. This is a Fiamma toilet brush, and we just simply use it with the toilet seat up and scrape away any debris, let's just call it. Give it another flush, of course, if there's any deposits. And every time you're pressing that button, water is circling around the toilet and then going down into the toilet cassette. If the toilet cassette is full, then this little image here looks like somebody peeing into a bucket. This little red light here, well, this light here, will come on. And what that means is that the pump or the button, the flusher, will no longer activate, so you will no longer be able to flush the toilet, which prevents it to some degree from it filling up and overfilling. But of course you could still have a tiddle in there and still fill it up, so don't do that. Toilet paper, there always seems to be a debate on toilet paper, what type you should use inside your caravan or motorhome toilet. Now we use the cheap 2-ply toilet paper that we get from Aldi. We use it at home as well, and that is fine. You really don't need the special caravanning toilet paper that some suppliers tell you need to buy. So long as it isn't that thick quilted stuff. The thick quilted stuff really does start to clog all the innards of the toilet cassette. Very nice for your bum, but not very nice for your cassette and when you're emptying it. So 2-ply is good enough, or the stuff you normally use at home. So a quick demonstration of flushing toilet paper away. You have been to the toilet, let's just say. The trap is open, okay? Now, toilet paper is filling up the bowl there. I press the button. There's me pressing the button. And it should just slide in, but most of the time, because I've only used a little bit of toilet paper, it gets stuck to the side, and then that's where we use our brush to push it down and keep flushing it until it's all gone. And of course, after you've flushed, close the trap so nothing can fall in, and we keep the lid up during the day, especially at night, because it'll be dark at night, and you don't want to come along and sit on the top here. During driving, when we're moving, the lid is down. and the trap is closed. The trap is always closed. Now, one more thing about the flushing. In our toilet system, the water that you've been seeing being flushed, that comes from our fresh water tank. The same tank that provides our showers and our water, our hot water, our cold water, our drinking water. In some caravans and motorhomes though, some of the newer ones I think, you get a separate reservoir. And in that reservoir you can top it up with water, which is a good idea. Or in some cases you can put pink liquid in. So for me, the pink liquid isn't really necessary. Well, first of all, we haven't got a place to put it, so we don't use it, obviously. But also, what it's supposed to be is very similar to the stuff that you put in your tank, your domestic toilet tank at home. So when you flush, it flushes the pink stuff around just to clean the bowl out. Do you do that at home? If you do it at home, then sure, do it in your motorhome or your caravan. But you really do not need the pink stuff. Some people, however, buy the pink stuff, put in a little bottle, add some more water to the bottle, like a spray bottle, and then they just do a bit of spraying around. Again though, that's a choice, it's not a necessity. Right, let's get outside and show you this toilet cassette, because I think we're done with this, this big white plastic bowl. Okay, so outside, right near your toilet, there will be a little door like this one. If we open it, we'll see there's a toilet cassette in the back there. Okay, so right next door to our toilet cassette, we keep our cassette toilet fluid, and we'll cover that in a moment, and a pair of gloves. Now you don't really need gloves. In fact, I started off without using gloves, but these are just making things a bit more hygienic, and that toilet cassette stuff stops that getting on your hands. And of course, after I've used my gloves, I take them off, put them all back, and then I wash my hands. Right, so there's the cassette. Different colours of cassette are available, different types, but they're all essentially the same. There'll be a clip, and ours is this yellow thing at the bottom here. There'll be a clip securing the cassette in place, and there'll be a handle. So we're just going to pull the clip up, and as we pull it up, I just pull out the cassette. Now the cassette will have various hand holes on them. I've got one here, I've got one on the top here, and there's one at the back. If someone's sitting on the toilet with the trap open, then you can't actually remove the toilet cassette, so it's kind of a safety feature, so somebody can't be going while you're pulling it out, if you see what I mean. Now if you look inside here, deep within there, you'll see some mechanism up there, and that through there, see that hole? That will be your bathroom. That's the toilet bowl just there, just kind of giving you an idea of where things are. See this here, this is a fuse. Now ours is easy to access. Other toilets may not have an easy to find fuse, but that used to be a 1 amp fuse, I think it was. Ours for some reason blows, and what happens is, this is like every 3 years, every 4 years it will blow, stop working, and that controls the flusher. So if your flusher is not working for some reason, it's most likely the fuse gone. So this is probably starting to look a little bit complicated for someone who hasn't seen one of these before, but I will show you what all these bits do. First of all, there's this button here. Now that's probably the 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th time I've ever pressed this button. Now what this is supposed to do is let the air inside that's built up through all the toiletry stuff inside, and lets out any air that's in the cassette. However, I've never used that. I don't ever press that button, so I don't think you guys need to either. There's another yellow thing over here. So what this does is this is a manual way of opening the trap. The trap is just here. I can push this out of the way. There's the trap that we saw earlier. So that was what all the toilet paper and all the water went into. I can turn the yellow switch there, and then now I can actually see inside the toilet cassette. We'll close that, and as you may notice, it comes across and then goes up, sealing the hole. So this shouldn't be leaking at all. If it is leaking, then you will need a new set of rubbers. However, if you've just flushed the toilet and there's a bit of residue water in there which hasn't gone into the trap just yet, then yes, it may look like it's actually leaking. As long as it's not the same colour, well, brown or the same colour as your toilet fluid, then you'll be fine. As long as it's fresh water, you'll be fine. Right, let's push this back on. It's locked into place when the arrows are lined up. But do note, however, this can come off. So when you are emptying your toilet cassette into a massive hole, you may want to put that to the side so it doesn't fall in. This is the reason why you don't really need this, I think. Now this gets pushed in, doing the same thing as this button here, but it gets pushed in by the action of you fitting the cassette into the hole in your motorhome. So as it slides into its little cubby hole, this gets pushed down and releases all the air. Also, these are replaceable. In fact, you can get kits to replace all the rubbers and things, but this is replaceable. On this particular cassette, this actually was leaking, so I had to replace that. It's just a matter of twisting it, push it down, twist it, and then it comes out. Handle, major handle there. We've got another handle around the back here, and one around here. Now this is where the toilet waste comes out of when you're emptying it. It is movable. It goes around like that, and it does that so that it's nice and compact, first of all, and also as you're pouring, you can control the rate of water as it comes out. Undo that, and then you tip the cassette into the hole and emptying it in the process through the hole that's sealed up with this cap here. So with my chemical toilet and my toilet cassette, I'm going to head over to the emptying point and empty it. Right, some toilet cassettes have wheels and they have a handle that you can pull out. Ours doesn't, just has a few grab points, but they all do the same thing. So here we have the chemical toilet emptying point, or it's also known as the CEP or chemical waste point, and sometimes it's called the Elson point. Different campsites have different waste points, inside or outside, and they can be large or small, and some are just holes in the ground. I suggest you empty the cassette before it gets full because it can be quite difficult and heavy to empty. I suggest you empty it daily if you're doing ones and twos, and of course even more often if you have more than 2 people in your motorhome or your caravan. Really depends on whether or not people are using it or not. Always use the proper emptying points at a campsite, and if you happen to be wild camping or overnight staying in a car park, don't empty in public toilets, and certainly do not ever empty outside the environment because it's disgusting, it's frowned upon, and it's illegal. This emptying point has a basin to wash your hands. There's the hole where you empty the cassette into. It's quite a large one, this one. The toilet cistern with the flush, just like a normal toilet, I suppose. And this sign says no dumping of sanitary towels or nappies. This tap with the hose on the end is for rinsing the cassette and cleaning the area once you're finished. You may have heard of black and grey waste, and you may have been wondering what the difference is. Well, grey wastewater is water that has been used for showering, washing your hands and doing the washing up, that kind of thing, whereas black is water on waste that has gone through you, in other words your toilet waste. Don't get them mixed up, empty them in the appropriate places. Some places allow you to empty your grey into the black waste, but you should never ever do it the other way around. In other words, empty the black waste or your toilet cassette into the grey waste disposal point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this funnel up and unscrew that. Now put everything on the floor, don't put it on here, anything, anywhere that can fall into the hole there. I'm going to bend it over a bit, so it's like that, okay, and that was going to give me just a bit more control over emptying the toilet. Not like that, because that'd be a bit more difficult. You'll get used to how much is what, but I'm just going to control the flow by just tilting it. Now, what you don't want to do, or what you want to avoid, is splashbacks. Okay, so nice and gently turn it up like that, a bit more. Now, as I'm doing this, I realise that solids and tissue paper are going to accumulate at the bottom. So really what I'm after is a fast flow rather than a slow flow, but still at the same time controlling the splashbacks. Right, that will happen quite quickly. It was all blue liquid because it was just water and the chemical. But you could hear it as I tipped it all the way in. It was kind of burping like a bottle of water. As you turn it up too much, all the air tries to get in it, and I think that's how I do it. And that means that it starts to move all the water and the solids in the tank and kind of ejects them more efficiently. Now then, of course, there's some more in there, and it's probably toilet paper. It is. What I'm going to do is, now to be quite honest, this is a bit small, a bit awkward of a size. Can you see that? Yeah, just about. It's a bit of an awkward size. So again, this nozzle, I'm going to tilt it like that, and the idea is to get water in here. Alright, so there's now got water in there. Not a lot actually, but I've got a bit more. Swishing it around, get those solids and toilet paper moving. And we do that again. Get it all moving. Right, that's tissue paper coming out now. One thing also, sometimes if you lift it up, it spurts out. So try to avoid that. Just, a little spurt. Got to do that again. Now you keep doing this until nothing comes out. It's just clear water, clean, crystal clean water. If it's still the same colour as your chemical toilet fluid, or it's brown, keep doing it. And also make sure that the nozzle is on the upper side as you're swilling it around. If I turned it over, it'll just gush out. But as I'm swilling it, I'm actually leaning it to the back here, so less chance of anything coming out of there. And now, so that looked like clear water to me coming out of there. Now there is one way of checking. We'll move the trap out of the way. The door to the trap rather, and this is what you can do if you can't get it's still, you're still rinsing it after a few moments, a few tries. You can take a look. I've showed you this earlier, and I can, using the light in the room, I can have a look round inside, see if there's any tissue paper, any solids. If there are, then I can get a hose. This is just rubbish, and kind of get it to move, because sometimes it gets stuck to the inside. Okay, but there's nothing in there. If there was, I could have got my hose and fill it up with this way, although this little thing is just rubbish. This should give us a longer hose here. Alright, so that's now got water in it, put in through this hole here. close the trap, it locks into place. Close that flap there and give it another swirl. This is always pointing in that direction, or you put the cap back on to do this, but never do that method. And then just, all right. So that is the toilet sorted. Now then, it's empty. Chemical toilet fluid comes in many varieties. There's blue stuff, there's green stuff. The green is supposed to be more environmental friendly. However, colour does not mean anything whatsoever. Do not listen to anybody. This is a kind of a bluey purple. Looks blue through there, but when you look at it, it's actually slightly purple. This is safe to use, safe for the environment as well. It actually says on it, environmentally friendly, biodegradable, pH neutral, formaldehyde free. So this blue stuff is great to use in an environment, well, safer on the environment. But no fluid is going to be perfect for the environment, right? Like I said earlier, do not empty this stuff, whatever chemical you use, and your toilet into the environment. So what is the chemical fluid for, you may ask? Well, one thing it doesn't do, and that is break down the solids in the cassette. Well, it might do in the long run, but in the short run, in the short term, it doesn't do that at all. And water probably does more breaking down anyway. What it does do, however, is provide a pleasant smell, and that's really all it does do, is just provide a pleasant smell. If you didn't have the chemical waste, chemical fluid, then it would smell after a day, okay, or maybe even sooner. Right, what we do here, we need to now measure, and you need to follow the instructions on the back here. You need to measure how much you want to put into your cassette. Now, the cassette is about 20 litres, ours is about 20 litres if it was full. And well, what I tend to use, this One Chem Cassette toilet fluid, put this on the floor. It's got a little reservoir here, so I can, with some measurements. And I put it up to 20 mil or 25 mil. But you may have to do another method. Let me just pour this in here, like so. One capsule of those. Put the cap back on. Now then, if you don't have a reservoir on your cassette, on your fluid, this is a measuring thing, measuring cup. Down the side here, you've got different measurements: 60 mil, 75 mil, and 120 mil. You just pour it in there, and then pour it into your cassette. Just read the instructions on the bottle that you've got. Now we've got our fluid in there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's fluid in there. It is run down the inside. It's now down the bottom somewhere. Now we need to what they call charge it, which means we need to add water. So we can add water through here, or we can add water, since it's just available, here. Now, the amount of water you require really depends on what fluid. It says it it normally says it on the bottle. I normally put around half a litre in. Now what we do is put the cap back on, firm, nice and firm. Fold that back down, and then that's all I do. That just mixes the water and the chemical toilet together and rinses it all around. There's no need to shake it like the maracas. You don't need to shake it really nuts. Don't need to do that. Just give it a little shake. Right, now we're done with the toilet cassette. We've emptied. All we need to do now is tidy up and flush. So it's nice to give it a nice little rinse. Not that we've made any mess. There's loads of water. We've also provided a toilet brush, which is nice. And the final thing we need to do is flush it away. Right, so the final thing we need to do is put the cassette back into its little cubby hole. It goes in the same way we pulled it out. And when you push it in, it will clip down. It will clip into place. And now, of course, you can't pull it out. Now, that's very important, because if the cassette moves around while you're driving, the hole won't line up with the bowl of the toilet, and then you could get mess everywhere in here. I've seen it, has happened to me before and other people, so remember to make sure that's all clipped in and secure in place. Right, that is the toilet cassette done. Okay, so all I need to do now is wash my hands. So if you like this video, if it helps you understand the runnings of the toilet cassette and how to use it in our motorhome or caravan, then please do give it a thumbs up, and why not subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of videos. We mainly do travel videos, but maybe you'll enjoy those as well. Anyway, see you in the next video, and thank you very much for watching. Silliness.
I'm silly.
Yeah.